Okay, time for another one of my videos. So I've been wanting to pull this up for a little while. I guess it was about 2 months ago. I caught wind that Frank Burke was doing a giveaway with stuff from Dinosaur Rocketry, and so I entered the giveaway. Yes, come join us. And this camera is driving me nuts, so we're gonna just make this the most redneck video possible because I can. Anyway, he drew my name, so I got a free Dinosaur Rocketry Kit. Now, if you're in the rocketry community, you've probably heard of these. If you're in the flight test community, you have no doubt never heard of these. Maybe you have. These things are really cool, and they are very much in the flight test style because they're sheet foam. Now, they're Depron. You could make them out of foam board, though. And Frank does a really good job with these. He hand cuts these and does a really nice job, and these things fly great. They are rocket-powered, radio-controlled airplanes, and they are designed to be very, very flyable. They go up, if you use the engines that he recommends, they go up about 80 miles an hour, so they're not super fast. Very stable aircraft, and they get up nice and high. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, figured I'd show you what you get in a kit. So this is your aft section of your, and it's this thick body tube. Mine got a little bit crinkled here because the USPS people were rough on it, and that's okay, because I fly airplanes hard anyway. So it's pre-slotted for the vertical stab. You have to slot it yourself for the wings, and I'll explain why. Why is because, and this is again marked, he pre-installs the tube coupler for you and has a set of arrows over on this side, if I cannot be the clumsiest person ever. And so what you've got to do is join that together, and then you cut your slot for your wings, because they come all the way up to here. It's a Delta wing. Real nice Estes Pro Series 2 nose cones. I think it's Pro, anyway, whatever series it is. They're real nice. Gives you a spare piece of foam for anything you want to deal with there. The flying surfaces are come folded up like this. So there's Blenderm tape, and then you join them together over here. It is pre-slotted for a carbon fiber wing spar, which he includes already cut to length so that it just drops right in. Your elevons, are pre-hinged. I mean, these are really complete kits. Got a hardware packet here with a roll of Blenderm. Give that to Daddy. Some lead ballast to get your CG correct. He includes Velcro for mounting your receiver, battery, all that. This little thing is a standoff for your engine mount. We'll talk about that later. This is your engine mount tube. He's already got a clip style retainer on there. 24mm engine mount. I ordered mine with rail buttons. I'll need to explain later what rail buttons are. Bottom line is they're for your launcher. You really want rail buttons on a rocket glider this size. The ghetto rigged ways a lot of us use to launch rockets just don't do that. Launch it off a proper launch pad, and you need rail buttons to do that. He includes a pair of skids because your rail buttons are going to go on the bottom, and so these skids allow you to land on a hard surface runway like a road or something without damaging the airplane. And your push rods are already set up to size, and he includes a JST connector to connect a single cell LiPo into your receiver, and a cute little decal. I'm trying to decide if I want to put the decal on the airplane or if I want to decorate some of my stuff with it to, you know, have some dinosaur bling, because they're really cool. So we're not done here. Caleb, we got to put all this away for now. We'll be back to it in a bit. Yeah, I got to put it all away. No, I need that too. That's part of the airplane. And all those. And that. Yeah, I got to take all... No. Sorry, we got... Here, look at this for a little while. There we go. So the other thing that I want to include here, and I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail, but this is how you...
Detail, it is course.
Yes. This is a reloadable engine casing. This is not an inexpensive piece of hardware, so if you're looking to do rocket gliders correctly, this is how you do it, and you understand you're going to pay a little bit. However, in the long run, it's fairly inexpensive. So this is an Aerotech reloadable casing. These are, I believe it's aluminum. Yeah. This is a precision machined component. It's designed to withstand very high temperatures, as is the retaining ring here. I'm not going to detail how to load this up because Frank has a much better video than I will ever be able to produce on how to load these up. Additionally, Frank has the best price you will ever see for these. So if you're going to buy them from him. And then I ordered a set of E7 reloads, so you get 3 in a pack, and I ordered 2 packs. I can't remember what these work out to, but I think it's something like I think it's maybe less than $7 a launch. It's not super expensive as rocket powered gliders go. And it's gonna, these are E-motors, so if you buy the Estes stuff, it's gonna cost just as much, and they're not as properly optimized for what you're trying to do.
Have it rocket?
Not right now. We'll talk about it later. So the bottom line is, this is the setup you want to have to launch rocket-powered gliders. This is the most user-friendly setup there is out there, and I highly recommend it. Now, if you're looking at like the J&H Aerospace stuff, which is not foam board, they are higher performance aircraft, but you have to be comfortable with making them from balsa. So, we're going to move some things out of the way, and we're going to show you something else. Oh wait, before I show you something else, I forgot, there's something else. Frank partnered with the folks over at Sticker Shock, who make really nice decals, and they make decal sets for each of his rocket gliders. If I can properly open this. I thought I got it open. Maybe not. Alright. I have to open it on this side as well. These guys are real quick with delivering everything. There are 2 styles of decals that you can get for the, this is the Stratodart X, Stratodart 10. You can get TWA or Pan Am decals, and I'm not going to peel these open, but you can just see there's the Pan Am logo that goes on there, and some striping, and then there are, hang on, let me take this back in place. So this is set up to look like an airliner, so you've got the little windows, you've got the cockpit markings. I know that doesn't show up real well what it's ultimately going to look like, although you can go to his website and you can see. But here's the Pan Am name again, and basically you just follow how Frank set it up, and you can apply your Sticker Shock decals to your Stratodart, and it looks absolutely amazing when you're done, and you don't even have to paint it. So, pretty sweet deal. I Alright, so we're actually going to build out the Stratodart in a minute. It's the Stratodart X. There's a difference. There's a regular Stratodart and then there's the X. Yeah, we're going to look in this. But before we get started on it, I'm going to show you the next gadget that we ordered. So, Frank knows how to just draw us in with his designs. And so after I won the first one, before I even got around to building it, he released something that I just had to have. As soon as I saw that he was going to release a kit of it, I was just like, you know what? I have a little bit of spending money, and I'm going to buy something that I have always wanted. And I ordered this just a few days ago. Ordered it over the weekend. This is Monday. I think I ordered it Friday, something like that. And he already got it to me. And so this is $75 for this kit, which I think is very reasonable for a kit for an A12. Oh, you don't know what an A12 is? Like me, you grew up when it was still classified? No. The A12 was the predecessor of the SR71. You can also do this up as the YF12, which was the better known predecessor of the SR71. So, we're going to pull this way you get to see the packaging too. So Frank has everything packaged in here real nice. No, be gentle. So all your body tubes, man, there's a whole bunch of hardware in here. I'm not going to take everything out of this, and the reason is, no sir, look, but don't touch. He pre-slots the body tubes on this one, and that requires there to be some foam inserts, and I don't want to disturb any of that yet. So, and again, as you can tell, this is the first time I've opened this, so I have no idea what all's in here. He told me there were going to be some neat little tricks that he was doing with this one, and I'm not kidding, because there's a lot more in this one. Okay, yeah, so this is the hardware package, and in this case he has included lead shot for ballast.
See?
Yeah, you see? And he's got a few fittings in here. I'll have to find out what all those refer to. I think that's the... Oh, those are the engine nacelles. Okay. He has this nifty way of doing the engine nacelles that avoids having to do 3D printing or vacuum forming. He was doing a lot of 3D printed stuff before, and ran into, since he wasn't 3D printing it himself, he ran into some supply chain issues, and so he's come up with a way to do them from paper. So if I can pop all of this out of here. The folks at USPS failed to defeat this packaging. And I'm a little ticked off at USPS because they stepped on a package that I got earlier today. So, okay, that does not show up well on camera, so please don't do it. Alright, here we go. So these are the flying surfaces for an A12, YF12 rocket-powered glider. If I can get them out of here without disturbing everything. Maybe. I would say the description here is Frank is even more paranoid about USPS shipping than I am, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, they stepped on a package that was delivered to me, so it's ridiculous. So anyway,
Okay, then.
all of the flying surfaces are in here. Again, I'm not going to pull them all out, but I can tell you the level of pre-assembly is impressive. Yeah, you can see. You can. So anyway, I'm going to put all that away because little fingers are getting increasingly excited about it, and we'll make him wait to get to that until later. So let's see, we'll package all this in here.
You open?
Okay, and the carbon tubes for the spars are in there, and the hardware pack. There we go. So anyway, with that, I'm going to put this guy away, and then we'll get started on building the other one. Okay, that was what hardware pack came in. So, okay.
It gets good point. It can't back. It don't close a this stick. Oh, point. What gets all five? Boy.
Where's
You
the
heard
nose?
it. You heard it from him first.
Where's the nose?
Nose are going to get how you pocket.
Where's the nose of the airplane?
And nose are open fall out. And I didn't know it.
Why would the nose fall? Never mind.
Where's
That's
the wings?
because it's a rocket plane.
A rocket plane, and it is rockets. It's
Yoo-hoo pour while this is going on. I'm getting out the yoo-hoo pour. Now, you could do this with epoxy. I'm not doing it with epoxy because
You don't have 24 hours to wait.
no, I just like yoo-hoo pour. I'm gonna have to wait a while with yoo-hoo pour.
True.
There's that. So anyway, that's in there. And this is basically going to require me to walk away from the airplane, which is okay because I want to review what Frank's procedure is for slotting the fuselage as far as what order to do it in, because I don't want to mess it up, because I'm a moron when it comes to cutting body tubes. So anyway, so what I have done is I have simply glued the wing in the open position and have inserted the carbon fiber wing spar. This is a 1/8 inch carbon fiber tube, so nothing exotic here. It's just a straightforward, very conventional materials. Like I said, if you built a regular radio controlled plane, if you build a regular like flight test style airplane, this is a piece of cake. And that's the beauty of these. These get you into rocket-powered gliding with really cool airplanes for really a minimum of difficulty. And there we go. I didn't realize these are pre-punched for the control horns as well. So. And I should mention, Frank recommends 9-gram servos. I'm going to use 5-gram. No, I think he recommends 9-gram. Anyway, I've got some little skinny servos I'm going to use instead, just because I have them on hand. But basically, at this point, you set this aside and you wait. Once we're done, we'll come back and at some point I need to bevel the or kind of round the flying surfaces. You don't have to, but it does fly a little better, and it looks a little better. So. Hope you want to hit the stop button. Now, this is still wet, and so I'm going to slide it out of the way. And I'm going to take the vertical stab out. And we're going to assemble fuselage. Now, Frank's instructions say to assemble everything with foam safe CA. But I don't have foam safe CA, so we're doing it without it, and I'm using the the Yoo-hoo on everything that's contacting foam. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to put CA here to join the fuselage, join the coupler together here. You need to avoid that area. You want to keep the CA out of the area where the wing slot is going to be, just so that it's that much easier to join it up. And in this part, you want to get it right because you only get one chance at it. Come on, go on there. I have taken this apart and put it together several times, and there we go. And I did use too much CA. And so now I've got to remove it. But what's important is everything is lined up. Because you've got this arrow point that you've got to line up right there. So, we'll be back in a minute. Now we've got the body tube coupled together. Take out brand new razor blade. This is where you have to slot these tubes. And they are marked for the slots. And at this point you just have to be really careful. And I'm not going to show all of this on video. It's just a tedious little task you got to do, but you got to pay real close attention. And this is why you use a brand new razor blade to make this cut. And apparently my skills have improved in this because I'm not going all wiggly with it like I used to. And so you got a slot here that's the thickness of the wing, and Frank's instructions do mention that after you've slotted it, you have to go a little bit of trial and error to make sure you get the thickness just right for the wing to slide in here. And I'm just doing a portion of this just so you can see it. Like I said, I'm not doing it all on camera. But bottom line is you're going to cut this slot, and you're going to end up doing that type of thing. You do this all the way down. So we'll come back once I've got that. I have now slotted out the tube. So there we go. So at this point I'm just going to slide the rudder along here to test fit. Looks fairly close, except at the ends it's a little tight. So we're going to try and we'll see if we can't open that up a little bit. And do the same thing up here. As Frank says, to watch for that so that you don't damage the wings when you're trying to insert them. The main reason is because that results in your wing having scratch marks all over it, and that just does not look as nice. Let's see, is this one tight? Yep, it is. What's the matter, Paul? What's the matter? You want to be in the video? Maybe at some point we'll work in. In the meantime, you're in the director's chair over there. You like being in the director's chair? Much better. And I will check back here. Yep. And I'm gonna Alright, so I believe this wing is mostly dry now. Yes, it is. So the ailerons go on the bottom. Make sure I've got this oriented all just right. Yes, I do. So we should be able to slide a wing in here. If I can stop being clumsy. Almost in here. Caleb, can you please stop that? Thank you. Ah, that's what I'm hung up on. What we want to do is center this up in here. Turn back, and there we go. So, as you can see, you've got this slot right here, and this is the motor tube is going to fit in between that. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some glue along here, and then we'll come back, and then we'll drop in the vertical stab. And now is where I demonstrate that I am an idiot who cannot follow directions. Because Frank's directions specifically say to install the rail buttons and then install the wing. And what did I do? I installed the wing. And now I'm stuck trying to figure out how to install the rail buttons. So, what I'm doing, I'm going to make a hole down here with the incorrect tool for the job because I am a redneck. And my son is explaining to you that I'm a horrible redneck. Let's see, there's no way that is fine. I'm just going to do this. At the end of the day, this does not have to be particularly perfect because it's got a little pressure plate on it that will push everything back in and be happy. And it's still not a big enough hole. There we go. Yeah. So these blind nuts, you gotta slide up in here. Like I said, if I had been paying attention, and this is probably not the correct way really to install these, but that's what I'm doing. Alright, so you put the blind nut in, and then you put the first washer on. You come in with the next assembly here. I'm just going to screw this in place and then I'll show it to you. And that's probably good enough. Alright, so you've got this assembly. There's a, see up there in front of the camera. There you go. So that's what it looks like. we've got a piece of 1010 aluminum rail that this slides on. It gives you a really secure mounting. So what we're going to do is we'll put the one on the back, and then we'll put the skids on, and then we'll install the vertical stab. Piece of cake. If you're not doing it incorrectly like me. One thing I will mention is engine choices for these things. You cannot use engines that have ejection charges. You can take like D12 series engines and either remove the ejection charge or buy D12 zeros and plug the upper port of the engine to prevent the burn through. But the bottom line is, with a foam rocket glider, you need to account for eliminating anything that is going to expose excess heat loads into the rocket. And that's why Frank and I are both so adamant about using the correct engines for the job. If you are not willing to do that, then go buy a kit for the Redshift or the Carbonette, because those are designed to operate with standard ejection charges, and you'll be good to go. You'll be giving me business, and I never turn down business. Yes, I do, but that's a separate issue. This is where I find out that I really was a complete idiot, because I am having a really, really hard time getting to this hole. Because my finger is not long enough to reach all the way up there to that thing. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to resort to making something. I had it almost up there in it. Come on, go in there. Just not quite big enough yet. And my son is repeating it. Is Caleb a repeater box?
My son, I get.
Bingo. Put the lower washer on, and it fits tight. I put the middle washer on, and it fits less tight. And now screw that in place. There we go. So, 2 rail buttons. Now, we will go ahead and dig out the skids here. And again, if you're not landing on a hard surface runway, which I'm not, you probably don't need the skids. But I figure it's probably a good idea to have them anyway. Because who knows if I'm ever going to go to some formal launch with this. Maybe I'll fly it at Flight Fest next year and drop it on their hard surface runway there. I'm just not doing it right on what this is I need to learn the lesson of using the correct tool for the job. My dad is constantly on my case about that. When he sees my engineering projects, he's like, why don't you use the correct tool for the task? Because I don't usually have it on hand. And hey, I make a fair bit of spare change doing things the wrong way. So, alright, and what we're going to do, This is probably not the right adhesive to use for this, but hey, it works quite well. And I like the rubbery texture. It kind of gives you some shock resistance. Alright, so that's one skid in place. There we go. So the skids are in place now, so the ride's nice and smooth. Next, I've already test fitted the rudder, so vertical stab, not rudder, several times, so I'm confident that it will fit okay. With that, okay, so that actually is not supposed to meet the wing down in there, so put all that glue on the bottom for no reason. Give ourselves a little bit of a fillet here. Part of the reason I'm doing this is I may actually come up with a little fitting so I can apply this as a electric RC model as well. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to test fit the motor tube here, but I'm not going to mount it yet. I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so there are two reasons not to fit the motor tube at this time. One is this vertical stab forms part of the support for it. The other is I want to put the electronics in and I want to have plenty of access when I go to do that. But in the meantime, what I can do, because they are hard mounted, if you will, is I can go ahead and attach the control surfaces, not the control surfaces, the control horns, and that way I'll be able to go ahead and position my servos. And I'm going to set this because I want to be able to pull those down against the fuselage. So what I'm doing, I'm going to set these up so I can have my servos down here flush mounted. I'm actually going to cut into the body tube to do that. Why? Because I want the extra 5 feet of altitude that'll let me get by reducing the drag that teeny tiny little bit. Again, I'm using the blender on this. Probably the best thing to use would be epoxy, but I'm impatient, so I'm going to not do that, and I'm also going to kick my vertical stab out of alignment because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Alright, so we will take a quick look at one thing, and then we're going to shut down for the evening, I think. And that is, check that out, is that not a
So
really
wait,
cool
this one's blue.
So, there we have it. We'll check back in after all the glue's dried. Okay. Okay, so at this point we've made some fairly significant progress on this rocket. So I went ahead and I mounted these servos. I didn't mount them the way I said I was going to. I just tack glued them on here, and then we'll be cutting some holes here to route the servo leads through, and we'll send that on upstream. So you center up your servos, and then you install your control horns. And actually what I did is I centered up these servos, installed the control horns, and then mounted the servos in place with the control horns on there. And that way I can get these mounted neutral with neutral trim, and off to the races you go. So that part's done. So the next thing is, you see we've got 3 points of attachment for our motor tube. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to test fit this motor tube in place. And I see that it goes in that far and it stops, which is what we want to see. And then I've got this spacer, and it should fit in here just like that, and it does. And since that fits so nicely, we're just going to go ahead and we're going to mount it just like that. And this tape appears to hold this motor mount well enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to do a little bit of hoping for the best here, in that got to line some things up. And here we go. There's some glue coming out. So I should be able to mount all of this up, kind of eyeballing where the glue lines go. And I don't know what's going on now because it's sliding further forward this time. But anyway, that should be about right. And then this guy, will get some glue on it. And there we go. So that motor mount is, as you can see, it's secure. You can see all the way up forward. Alright, I'm going to go get some servo extensions, and then we'll cut some ports for that and wrap it up. Okay, so I've got some servo extensions. You can see with those held here, they'll extend all the way down to the nose. So I'm going to cut the ports here, and then we'll come back. Okay, excuse the complaining in the background, but anyway, so what I've done here is I've cut these little slots and threaded the wire through. I did actually take these horns assemblies loose and just rotated them back out of the way to get in there. And this takes some shaking and rattling to get the servo extensions all down there. But anyway, you end up down front. We've got one's longer than the other. That's what I get for using two different brands. But anyway, those are your two servo leads. You'll mount your receiver assembly and battery in the nose cone using Velcro. And I do recommend wrapping this with a layer of tape to friction fit it in place and slide it in place. Add nose weight as needed to get the CG where it belongs, and I don't remember exactly where that is, but Frank tells you where it's supposed to be. So basically at this point, follow Frank's instructions for setting up your flight modes, because you need two flight modes. You need that for launch, and then you need about 15 degrees of up elevator for your cruise glide mode, because you want that to slow it down. So these things are trimmed to be overstable, so that they for a hands-off glide, you need some up elevator trim in there, and that's why you need 2 flight modes. You need a launch preset, and then you need a your most of the flight. 8 seconds of flying fast, and then the rest is lazy floating around. So anyway, at this point, it's the airplane's basically finished. I'm going to sand the trailing, the edges of the wing and rudder round, and then at some point I'll paint. I'll at least paint the fuselage. Probably not the rest of it. The rest of it, but flying surfaces are fine. And then apply your decals, and off you go. So hopefully we'll be able to check in soon with us flying this sweet bird. So see ya. Okay, we're getting ready to fly this guy. You can see it's already loaded up with everything. CG has been checked and whatnot. We're running a 1S 650 up in the nose, or 600 I should say. That's per the instructions that, well, it's per what you see on the website. As you can see here, we've already flown this airplane under electric power, and now we're just setting it up for rocket. And so when you fly this, you want it clean for launch, because you've got centerline thrusts, you want the elevons set neutral. But when you're gliding, it's going to be nose heavy. So I've got this switch right here programmed, so you can see when I pull this switch, the elevons go up, like so. And so this is launch mode, and that's glide mode. And the flight controls remain exactly the same, regardless of flight mode. And that's really all there is to it. So you slip on the nose cone. Nose cone, I'll put some tape around the, actually I'll show you this. I'll set the camera down here. Oh, gosh. So slide this nose off, like so. You see I've got tape wrapped around here, so it fits tighter. But my receiver is right here, and the battery is Velcro in the nose. And sorry, that's super annoying. But anyway. Oh hush. Move the transmitter over here. So anyway, that's the general setup. The CG, we'll flip it upside down here. The CG with a loaded motor is right here, which is just a little bit, well, that's where it's supposed to be, and it balances right up here, so about 1/4 of an inch forward of that, which is perfect. And then the CG is going to go forward as the propellant burns out. So anyway, that's all there is to it. Oh, one other thing, I'll go ahead and show you this. The rail buttons, the way those work is, let's see, here we go. We slide in like so, and fitting a little tight. I'm going to have to sand that down before we fly it. But anyway, the rail buttons slide in like that, and up front as well. So anyway, we'll be back, well, that's pretty much the conclusion on it.